So you've heard me talk on several occasions recently about the fact that I haven't really been publishing too many action figure videos anymore, specifically single action figures. However, I did say that if I got a whole case of figures in, I would most likely be looking at those, especially if that case was full of something really cool. Well, today we're there. Let's get into this. All right, welcome to another episode of Paul's Collectibles. It's good to have you. Thanks for joining me. Today we're talking about some more 3 3/4 inch vintage collection action figures, this time an entire case that contains a wave that has like a mishmash of different figures. I mean, you've got the Cassian Andor from Aldhani, the Phase 2 Clone Trooper, and a number of other ones from all different properties. Now, I'm pretty excited about a lot of the figures that are in this case, and I think one of them is actually a straight repack from a wave we just went over recently, so we're gonna find out. But with that, let's get these things in front of some lights, take a look at them, and see what I'll be adding to my action figure collection today. Okay, so here's the entire wave out of the case, and as you can see, you get the one Clone Trooper from Andor, the one Admiral Piett, 2 Cassian Andors, the Starkiller Vader's Apprentice, 2 Hunters, and a Cal Kestis, which I'm pretty sure is just a straight repack from the very last case we got, other than those Jabba Goons. Now, I'll be honest with you, we'll talk a little bit more about that in a minute. I would rather have had them double up on the Clone Trooper, maybe even triple up on the Clone Trooper, because people would use that to army build, and maybe not even include this Cal Kestis, because literally we just got it. And why we have 2 Cassians, I'm not sure either, or 2 Hunters. So it would seem to me that you would want to double up on maybe the Admiral Piett too, because he can be used as a general Imperial officer, especially the Clone Trooper. And the other unique figures, they should have only done one, but you know, no one's asking me these kinds of things when they pack these cases. So let's take a look at the wave up close. Okay, we're going to do my standard, what I call worst to first, talking about the characters that are the ones that are my favorites as opposed to the ones that I just really like. But the exception to this rule is this Cal Kestis. We literally just got this guy in our last wave, so we're not going to go over him again. I'll link to that video down below if you want to see an up-close look at him. But we just literally went over him, so he's not included. That being said, including the Cal Kestis, which we just ejected from the line, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 unique figures in this wave, and that's pretty cool. So we'll start off by taking a look at the Hunter, which is my least favorite. Okay, so there's the Hunter. That's actually a really good looking card. I like that it's just against a gray sky. Kind of looks like Camino. Got the Star Wars, the Bad Batch logo up there. Hunter with the light green. And that's obviously a screen cap from a show or another rendering, even though the figure is more realistic looking. But as far as cards go, that's direct to the point, and I think a very good depiction of the character. Let's get a closer look at that figure. Okay, there you see the Hunter figure up close. He's got the removable helmet. Looks like it is a helmet and not a head swap, so that'll be interesting. I don't know if when you take it out of there, he's gonna look like his head's too big, because that seems to be what happens with those helmets. But overall, that's you know, it's not a bad looking figure, to be perfectly honest with you. I'm not a huge Bad Batch fan. The animation never really did it for me, but the face sculpt looks really good. I like how they've kind of made it so that it's a little bit more realistic looking. Like I said, comes with the helmet. The armor is done very well. I mean, this is based on an animated character, so they hit it pretty good. He's got his knife, and it looks like he's got the sheath on his arm where he can sheath it. He's got the pistol, and he's got the rifle. Overall, not a bad looking figure at all, and I'm kind of excited to have him. And I know a lot of people have been looking for the Bad Batch. And Hunter is VC-268. Next up, we have the Star Wars Expanded Universe Starkiller Vader's Apprentice, and this figure is packed full of stuff. I'm surprised they didn't try to make it a deluxe. But once again, another great idea for the card. This is obviously from a video game, if I remember correctly. I've forgotten the name of the game. I don't really play the video games all that much, but I love the fact that he's here in his jumpsuit. He's got both of his lightsabers. He's got that determined look on his face. The blues go along with the character because this is some sort of Imperial character. They've got the red background on the pill there. It says Starkiller Vader's Apprentice, and the red background on the character. And that is a nice contrast. That is an excellent looking card. Once again, they did a good job. Let's get a closer look at that figure. And as I mentioned, this guy has a ton of stuff in his card. You can see he's got the armor piece that'll go on front if he wants to armor up. Looks like he's got some pauldrons up here on the top, maybe some armor pieces that go across his shoulders. It's got both of his lightsabers right here. He's got, looks like some sort of belt system back there. And he's got 2 unignited hilts as well. Like I said, man, I'm just surprised they did not try to make that a deluxe figure. But wow, he is packed full of stuff. And the face sculpt on that looks a lot like the actor who plays him. I'm spacing his name right now, Sam Witwer or something like that, I think. They've got the tear or the pullover on his tunic there. You come on down, the belt is done nicely. It looks like he's got that pilot restraint strapping system around his waist there, and on down to the Imperial boots. And from what I know of this character, it looks really good and they did an excellent job on it. Not real familiar, once again, like I said, with the video games, but I like it. I'm happy to have it, and I've always been a collector of the figures that have the lightsabers. And Starkiller's Apprentice is clearly a repack because he's VC 100. Next up, we're getting into some of the coolest figures in this wave. This is the Cassian Andor from the Aldhani mission, where they raided the Imperial Vault to get all of the credits. Now, you've heard me gush. I just absolutely loved Andor, and I've talked about it on several of my previous videos. So I'm ecstatic to have this figure and anything from it, but especially Cassian dressed as an Imperial, because kind of a huge fan of the Imperial uniforms. Like that card once again. That's obviously some sort of screen grab from the episode. He's in an action pose. It shows the character nicely. The only thing they could have improved is maybe a little bit more contrast, because everything in the back is kind of grayish black and he kind of blends in because of the color of his uniform. But overall, that's not bad. Like I said, only a small improvement could have done anything to make that better, but I do like it. Let's take a better look at that figure. Okay, look, that is just amazing. His head sculpt is just ridiculously accurate. Let's see if we can get some better light in there for you. But it is so much like Cassian Andor and Diego Luna, the actor that played him. They did a really good job on that. It's actually a little haunting. His eyes look a little bulgy, but at that scale, it's beautiful. He's even got the 5 o'clock shadow. Coming on down, he's got his pistol there, right on the card with him. And if you come on down, they did a good job on the Imperial uniform. I love the detail on the buckles and the little red and blue accents at the bottom there. The tunic, I like the fact that they didn't go with cloth goods because it just ends up looking like a skirt. It's plastic. Here's where I have a problem. These boots are not the boots that he's wearing, if you'll recall, in that episode. These are like Shore Trooper boots, which means they probably just redid the Shore Trooper shin pads and boots for him. They're actually wearing jack boots in this episode, and that's not accurate, and that's a little disappointing. Now, that being said, I'm such a sucker for these Imperial figures that it really doesn't bother me that much, and they did try to put, looks like some sand accents on the bottom, but I don't think that's the right color for the planet he was on. Those aren't the right boots. That's the disappointing part of this figure, and I think, especially since we just saw in the Sam Witwer figure, Starkiller, that they can do those jack boots. Maybe they should have used his legs instead, but still happy to have it. But that's the one thing that's probably going to upset a lot of the ardent collectors who are into very intricate detail. And Cassian Andor during the Aldhani mission is VC 267. And in keeping with the extreme variety in this wave, we now have Admiral Piett from Return of the Jedi. This is a 40th anniversary Return of the Jedi action figure, and you can see the logo in the top left corner there. Once again, as they seem to do with a lot of the Imperials, get a red background on his name pill, red background on the figure. That card is stunning. I love it. He's clearly on the bridge of the Executor, looking out at the second Death Star during that battle in Return of the Jedi with a look of consternation on his face, like he's just trying to survive whatever is going on in the Empire. I love that card, and I think it represents the character beautifully. Let's get a look at that figure. Okay, now I'm trying to decide what I feel about this face sculpt. His eyes are a little buggy looking, and he looks a little strange. Not gonna lie, I mean, they did a pretty good job of getting the actor that did it, getting it down, but I mean, if you look at the face, it's a little awkward looking. Let's just be honest about this. And the fact that, as I understand it, the hat comes off, it looks a little too big for his head overall. But, you know, at this scale, once again, you'll never find me complaining. Now, they also decided to go with screen accurate on this character, because if you look at his rank plaque down here, he's got 3 red and 3 blue. Now, any of the ardent Star Wars fans and collectors will tell you that is not the rank of an Admiral, but for some strange reason in Return of the Jedi, almost every Imperial officer is wearing the exact same rank plaque, which is wickedly incorrect and so frustrating to those of us who pay attention to detail. but they kept it accurate with the movie instead of accurate with what his actual rank was. And this is just a pretty plain, direct and to the point Imperial officer with, look at that, jack boots. I don't know why they couldn't done a lower version of those on the previous figure we just looked at, but whatever. But it looks great. He's got his pistol, even though we never actually see him carrying one. And that is an awesome figure that I know a lot of people are going to be excited to get in their collection, because we've just really needed some Imperial officers. And this initial sculpt and mold really opens up the possibilities for some great new figures we could get just with switching out some heads and some paint colors. And good old Admiral Piett is VC 270. And for what has become a theme in my collecting lately, it appears that we've got another Phase 2 Clone Trooper. Once again, anything from Andor, yes! Star Wars Andor figure, Clone Trooper Phase 2 armor. That's from that scene in Andor, I believe, where they're walking as a pair past him when he just is able to avoid them. Love that card, great card, ecstatic to get this figure. And if you've been paying close attention to my channel, you'll realize that Phase 2 Clone Troopers seem to have been the theme of what I've been collecting lately, and we've got more coming. But anyway, that's a great card, yellow name pill, yellow figure back. I love how everything is kind of light, bright, and white on there, and that's a beautiful card. Let's get a look at that figure. Oh yeah, that's an awesome figure. Look at that. That's clearly the same sculpt for the head we've been getting. Looks like it's a removable helmet. The armor is robust on the top there and looks good. It's very detailed. They've got these clone troopers and these stormtroopers down to a science now, and he's got his mid-sized blaster. What's important to point out on this one, and I think I'm correct here, and if I'm not, correct me in the comments, but I think this is a new sculpt for the legs. The previous clone troopers that we've got in the Phase 2 armor, they look like they're wearing skinny jeans, and they're just kind of silly looking overall. I mean, I still loved them, but I'm happy that it seems that it looks like there's a real human being that could fit in that leg armor now. So that's much better. And I also like how they didn't make his ankles black, which they've been doing with the stormtroopers lately. They're all white all the way down, as he should be. And then of course he's got his super large blaster rifle over here. But overall, what a great character. This is my favorite one from the wave, and I'm just ecstatic to have him. And the Phase 2 Clone Trooper from Andor is VC 269. But there you have it, just a quick fun look at 6 great new characters. Well, 5 here in the silly repack that we just got of Cal Kestis off to the side. And I'm ecstatic to have them all. This is a great addition to several different lines in the 3 3/4 inch vintage collection action figure lines. And I'm just over the moon about these Imperial figures over here. Love to have them. And if you're not a subscriber to the channel, maybe consider doing that for me. That's a great way to support my efforts here at Paul's Collectors. And if you're already a subscriber or somebody who's been watching my videos for quite a while, you know I greatly appreciate you. And with that, I'll see you on the next video.